Hi everyone, my name is Joel, and I'm super excited to bring you all this new iteration of videos. Trisha and I will be exploring the OT ICS cybersecurity space. This is going to be a fundamental series where we're going to be talking more about the 101s and the ins and outs of OT and ICS cybersecurity. So Trisha, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Joel. I'm so excited to be here. And hello, everyone. My name's Trisha. I'm a product manager in cloud data center cybersecurity, and I work on a third-party product that addresses the needs of the OT ICS cybersecurity space. So I'm genuinely passionate about this, and I'm super excited to educate all of you guys on all of the threats going on in this landscape at the moment and what we can do to counter that.
Yeah, definitely. So with this space, comes a lot of jargon. So I think we're going to spend the first half of this series or the first half of this video kind of talking a little bit more about, a dictionary glossary definition of everything. And then we're going to dive a little bit into the cybersecurity implications of OT and ICS. So Tisha, you can do me the honors of kind of breaking down, what does ICS actually mean here?
Of course. So ICS stands for Industrial Control Systems, and it's essentially an overarching term that's used to describe all of the devices, control systems, and instruments within a ICS environment, like a manufacturing plant, a data center, a water plant, an electric plant, factories, etc. So it includes devices, systems, networks, and the controls used to operate or automate the processes in those environments.
Cool, that makes sense. And then how does the OT side fit into this?
Yeah, so OT stands for Operational Technology, and it's essentially the hardware and software that's used to control the equipment within those industrial control systems. So, for example, a Coca-Cola manufacturing facility is an industrial control system. While manufacturing cans of Coca-Cola, you need to program in the amount of liquid that goes into each can. So the programming of that has an impact on the machinery, resulting in a physical implication within our physical world, is what's called operational technology.
Okay, and I'm assuming this operational technology has some sort of software involved in like actually running the physical hardware, correct?
Yes. So within an industrial control environment, you have IT and OT working together. So IT stands for information technology, and IT is composed of systems that are primarily used to solve business problems. So IT focuses on information and data, versus OT focuses on networks communicating with physical machines within the industrial control environment.
All right, cool. So I think the way I'm sort of understanding this is it sounds a lot like smart devices in our home, correct? Am I off there where it's like you have these physical devices and you use software to make them better, to make them more efficient, so that at the end of the day, whatever these industrial systems are, they're more efficient, making more money, they're faster, whatever.
Yeah, so to provide a little more context there, essentially today with the advent of technology, more and more devices are being connected to the cloud, not just within an industrial control environment, but in general, even in our households today, we have light bulbs that can be controlled via our smartphones. We have smartwatches. There's even medical devices and other wearables that are being built. And these devices fall under the umbrella of Internet of Things. Within the industrial control environment, we are also now adding in sensors to study the machinery within the environment so that we can make these processes more efficient. The process of adding these sensors in and gathering data from within that environment is under industrial Internet of Things. It essentially helps solve problems faster by transforming operations and assisting users in making better business decisions by making plants more productive.
Okay, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. As technology advances, you get better. But being in the cybersecurity space, I think we're naturally skeptical of a lot of technologies in terms of their security, and I think smart devices, connected devices are near the top. Does that also, do you see that here in this space?
Yes, 100%, especially because industrial control systems were previously air-gapped. And what that means is that the OT and IT networks were completely separate. And the OT networks had no connection to the internet or any other network outside of the industrial control environment. But as I kind of mentioned, in today's world, there's data flowing between the OT and IT network. There's also these sensors in the environment that are connected to the internet, leading to a sort of a gateway for these attackers and hackers to break into the environment and then traverse laterally to different parts of the network. So essentially, what that means is an attacker could break into an OT environment and control physical machinery within that environment. So, for example, within a data center environment, you need to keep the temperature at a certain level so that the devices within the environment don't explode. If it gets too hot in a data center, it could explode. So what an attacker could do is hack into the HVAC system, modify that temperature, resulting in super high temperatures within the data center environment that could lead to them exploding, which would completely destroy all of the equipment within that environment, but it could also lead to loss of life. So 100%, the increased connectivity is leading to more and more attacks in the environment, and they can have incredibly dire consequences.
Yeah, and not gonna lie, that sounds pretty, pretty dire. Do we see situations like that in the real world that attacks have already caused this kind of damage?
Yes, we definitely do. As of last year, 9 out of 10 organizations experienced at least one intrusion, and 63% had 3 or more intrusions. We've also seen a lot more of these breaches on our critical infrastructure in the news lately. So last year, there was an attack on a Florida water treatment facility that almost led to 15,000 residents being poisoned. Thankfully, the attackers were caught on time and no one fell sick, but that's really scary. We also heard about the Colonial Pipeline hack, where hackers used a compromised passwords to break into their systems, and that eventually led to oil and gas price surges across the US. We've also seen how ransomware can impact meat packing plants and facilities. So it's incredibly scary how these attacks are having consequences on everyday people, and we are completely unsuspecting of them.
Yeah, definitely. So not gonna lie, it does sound pretty doom and gloom, but I'm under the assumption that things are being done. There's movement within leadership, not only in private but in the public sector. Can you talk a little bit more about, what are the initiatives to combat these kind of threats?
Yeah, so as I kind of mentioned in the beginning of the video, Microsoft is definitely investing a ton of resources into this. I'm working on a product that works to mitigate OT ICS incidents when they do occur. We're definitely working towards preventing such attacks from happening, and if they do occur, we want to mitigate and resolve them as soon as possible. Furthermore, as of June 3rd, 2021, the US Department of Justice has elevated investigations of ransomware attacks on critical infrastructure to a similar priority to that of terrorism. The White House executive order improving the nation's cybersecurity has expedited schedule for improving federal government cybersecurity defenses and signals the urgency of confronting these threats to critical sectors such as electric utilities and pipelines. So yes, there's a lot of people paying attention to this, and that is amazing, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So there's another quote by the NISA that says a significant shift in how operational technologies are viewed, evaluated, and secured within the US is needed to prevent malicious cyber actors from executing successful and potentially damaging cyber effects. So to answer your question, yes, not only is the private sector doing a lot to combat this, so is the public sector, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think that's a common sentiment within cybersecurity, where like work's being done, but the fight's not over. So that's also actually one of the core goals of this program, this lecture series, where we're gonna share a lot of general base knowledge of OT, ICS, cybersecurity, examples of different attacks, different solutions out there to mitigate these risks. So, and part of that is educating, a larger audience. So that's what we're here for. So I want to say, thank you to Visha for taking the time today and talking to us more about, I guess, the foundation of this space. And we'll definitely see what we can do to bring more awareness to cybersecurity in general for OTSES. And before we close off, I do want to mention that for anybody in the community watching this or currently learning more about the space, feel free to reach out to our alias that will be linked somewhere where you can find it within the video. Please ask us any questions you have on cybersecurity in the space or different topics you want us to dive deeper in, because that's the whole goal of this, just to educate everybody further. So thanks again, Trisha. I'm really excited to collab with you more on this topic, and we'll definitely see y'all in the next video.
Sounds good. Thanks, Joel.
Awesome. Thank you.